Yo, what's going on, guys? It's right back again here bringing out videos. This one's going to be talking about UFC 143. We just found out that added to the card, this is the Nick Diaz versus Carlos Condit card. We're also going to be seeing the return of Fabricio Werdum to the UFC from, he was in Strikeforce for a couple years. He beat Fedor. He lost to the Reem by decision, and now he's going to be back. So, by the way, his last fight in the UFC was against Junior dos Santos, in which he got knocked out by a brutal uppercut. But there's no shame there. I mean, Junior dos Santos has been knocking out absolutely everybody. There's no question about that. His boxing is just amazing. So, nice to have Fabricio back. He's been working on his boxing like crazy. We got to see that against Bigfoot. We got to see a little bit against Reem too. You know, his boxing is improved like crazy. So that's really going to help him a lot in this fight, Fabricio with his boxing. I don't think that Roy Nelson is really going to want to take this fight to the ground. Now, that's not to say that Roy Nelson can't handle himself on the ground, because Roy Nelson's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the heavyweight division. There's no question about it. But I think that, Alistair says, Fabricio Werdum is the best submission artist in the world in MMA. And I think he's right. He pretty much is. I mean, who else we got? We got Frank Mir, who is capable of some amazing things. We saw him, break Nogueira's arm. So maybe Frank Mir, Roy Nelson, and Werdum, out of the three, which one is the best, jiu-jitsu-wise? It's really hard to say. I mean, it could go either way, but I think that when it comes to those three, you might have to put Doom at number one, and then Frank Mir at number two, because Frank Mir, like we saw against Nogueira, he's really good, and he can do some things that you wouldn't think. And then maybe after that you'd have Roy Big Country. So I really don't think that it's a good decision for Roy Big Country Nelson to go to the ground with Doom. I don't think it's a good decision for anybody to go to the ground with Doom. Pretty much the only way you're going to beat Doom is knock him out standing up, or stand with him and go for a decision and just beat him in points. Because if you go to the ground with Doom, it's not a good idea. It's really, really not a good idea. He can tap out anybody. He really is the best submission artist, I think, in my opinion, in mixed martial arts. So that being said, what does Roy Big Country Nelson have to do to win this fight? He's got to keep the fight standing, and he's got to use his overhand right. If he does that, he can knock Doom out. Will he be able to knock him out? It's going to be tough because obviously Fabricio has been working on his boxing for years. I'm sure he learned his lesson from Junior dos Santos. I'm sure that uppercut did not feel good last time. And we got to see against Reem. Reem didn't knock him out, even though he was injured and he won the fight. Reem didn't knock him out. So if Reem didn't knock him out, reason stands to think that maybe Roy won't be able to knock him out. But then again, Roy's footwork has improved. He's been training, and he's kind of mimicked Frank Mir's style a little bit with his boxing, the way he uses his feet. And we saw him against Mirko, and he put on a great showing against Mirko. Roy is somebody who's really tough to knock out. The guy's almost impossible to knock out. I mean, Junior dos Santos hit him with everything but the kitchen sink and wasn't able to knock out Roy. So will Fabricio be able to? I don't think so. I think either way we're going to see either Roy Big Country knock out Fabricio with an overhand right, or Fabricio win this in terms of points with his striking, or possibly a submission. Who do I give the odds to, and who am I picking? This is a tough call, because Roy is really good with that overhand right. It's almost like Dan Henderson with his H-bomb. Roy times that overhand right really well and throws his weight around really well, and I was really impressed with him in his last fight against Mirko. He looked the best he's ever looked in his whole career. So that's going to be a tough guy to beat for anybody, even Junior dos Santos, even Reem, any of these guys, because he just takes all this punishment, and he doesn't really go down hardly. It's really hard to take Roy Big Country out, because you don't really want to go down with him after you knock him down, because you could get submitted. And he's this huge head, takes a lot of punishment. He's a really tough guy. So I think if I have to make a prediction, this is a tough one. Maybe I'd have to go with Roy Big Country by that overhand right. But then again, Fabricio could take this fight, just based on points, his striking, or could submit Roy. So, this is a really tough fight to call. Both of them haven't really fought any common opponents, really. So, this is kind of a toss-up for me. Who am I going to pick for this fight? flip a coin, really. You know, I mean, this is a really, really tough fight to call. In my opinion, this is a do not bet. I think Big Country will probably be the favorite for this fight, but you know, Fabricio has very underrated boxing at this point. He didn't when he fought Junior dos Santos, but now he does. He learned his lesson, I think. So this is an insanely hard you know, fight to pick somebody for. For me, I say this is a straight 50-50. You know, pick one or the other. You know, if you're going to bet, you know, it's like flipping a coin, really, because I don't see one guy as really. This is a very even matchup, and I don't really see one guy as having more of a chance to win than the other. So I can't really pick anybody for this fight. You know, my prediction pretty much is just going to be just like that, either overhand right or Fabricio takes this. Other than that, there's not really too much else to say. Good to have Dr. Doom back in the UFC. Good to see Big Country getting another fight in the UFC and not getting cut, because he's been doing really well, even though I know Dana doesn't like him and stuff. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for this one. It's a 50-50. Flip a coin if you're a bettor. Otherwise, let's enjoy an amazing fight, and great to have Dr. Doom back in the UFC. Later, guys. Peace.